Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Paranormal Portal. It's Wednesday night. And I don't know about you, but I got a big hump I need to take care of someday. I don't even know if that was funny or not, but it was funny in my head. So that's because I got the mic. You get to hear all that crap. Unfiltered, unrehearsed, unprepared most of the time, and absolutely unscripted. So what more could you want? Welcome, everybody. It's middle of the week. Man, the Minion's watching TV out there. Oof. He's usually up on his computer. I might have to go encourage him to turn down the volume. One moment, please. Please stand by as I have him turn it down because I got it coming into my ears. It's throwing me off my game here a little bit. 1 second, please. That's better. Okay. There we go. Now I can't hear a bunch of other characters talking in my head. There's already enough going on in my head without more people talking in my head, believe me. So, got a lot going on tonight. Obviously, it's Wednesday. Welcome back, everybody. I missed you guys, and I'm thrilled to be back to bring you more shows. Oh, cool. Little film there. Yeah, well, he's watching on the TV. It's just on the other side of my wall to the studio, and I don't have sound dampening. So it's like, man, it's coming right through into my head, and it's already busy enough in my head. So we got a kind of a fun little thing we're going to do tonight. I got 2 submissions for the news, one from Wes and one from the unknown, and we're going to look at them, guys, tonight. We're going to have a vote, and we'll use both of them. I love both of them. They're really great. But thank you, T-Bone. Appreciate it, brother. Thank you. T-Bone's gifted 5 memberships, I should say. This isn't Twitch. 5 memberships to the channel. Looks like the first one got it was Daniel Stowe got one. Grace Walker got one. Mickey G got one. How you doing, Mickey? Good to see you. Elizabeth Morin got one. Hi, Elizabeth. And Chris Panko. Sorry, Chris Panko. Not Pranko. Panko. Sorry. But great to see all you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Congratulations. You're now 30-day members of the channel. And if you love it, you can continue on your own or you can let it slide. It's up to you. But thank you for giving it a shot. I appreciate it. Special thanks to T-Bone for making the magic happen every night. This man has just carried the portal in a lot of ways. So thank you so much. And so many of you guys do. Don't get me wrong, but this stuff really goes a long way to help me out. So I appreciate it. You guys are wonderful. Love you. Mean it. But we got a lot of things going on tonight. As I was saying, we're going to do a vote to figure out the position of these 2 reels. They're amazing. Both of them are very well done, but both of them are very unique takes on the Paranormal Portal news. So we'll show you what I mean in a little bit. As soon as we get to that, which won't be long. Hi, Portal Mom. She's here, ladies and gentlemen. My mama's in the house. Good to see you. Thanks. That's great. Good to see you all, everybody that's coming in. I'm trying to catch up with the chat. Radar is not on. You're right, Deborah. Thank you. That is absolutely true. It's the 4th today. Wow. All right. February 4th, 2026. The radar is now functioning within normal parameters. Don't forget the radar. Yep, you and Deborah are on the spot, Rachel. Thank you. Good to see you all, though. We obviously are going to get to the news as well as finish up an article we've been working on from ranker.com dealing with some paranormal goodness. I got a bunch of stuff pulled up for what the hell is that? And then we'll get to the cryptid corner. And we'll get as far as we get. That's just how it rolls. I don't really always have a concrete plan for these shows. I just have a lot of options. But remember, you guys are part of the show. If there's things that you want to some commentary on, or you want me to discuss or to visit with you, that's fine. Please just capitalize your statements in chat if you really want me to see it, because then I got a much better shot of seeing it. Still no guarantees, because I am, doing 50 things here, but I will do my best to keep an eye on it. And you guys are my co-host tonight, because there's nobody else. It's just you and me. Lucky you. So we got a lot to do. So I guess the first thing I want to do is kind of lead into the show, because it's the first segment of the show. You know how we vote during What the Hell Is That? Well, that's what I'm going to ask you to do here. So there's two options. How will we line this up? Let me see. All right, here it is. There's two options. The first option will be, I'll since it just got it, we'll do that one first. I got one from Wes, so he'll be number 1. And the second one is 0. Now, there's no losers. I'm going to use both of these because they're brilliant. You guys did amazing jobs, but which one should be the lead in for the news and which one should be the lead out from the news? That's what I'm going to ask you. So whichever one gets the most votes, and wait, don't vote until we're done. And it's, again, I appreciate everything you guys do, and you guys have made some incredible stuff for me and helped me out so much. You guys are incredibly talented and amazing people, and incredibly generous and kind and wonderful. So this isn't a popularity contest or anything like that. It's just I need to know which one to have the lead in and which one is the lead out. So number 1 will be Wes's, which will be the first one we're going to review, and then the second one will be from the unknown. And let's see what you guys think. All right, here we go. This one is from Mr. Wes Germer, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see, what do I do? Maybe I should wait a little bit. I can't, though, because I got to get to the news. We got to get to the news either way. And then I'll place these as they are. I guess as the early birds, you guys get to vote. If people come in late, too bad. You're late. That's the problem with being late. So let me get this all set. All right, let me do this. Whoops, wait. I want to wait. Restart this. So again, this is news opener 1 from Wes Germer. So you're going to use the vote 1. Don't vote yet, though, because we got 2 to watch. These are great. They're both great. They're very different from each other, but they're both great. So let's check out news opener 1 from Mr. Wes Germer. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. All right, and I'm going to play it now.
When breaking news happens, Paranormal Portal is there.
It's not looking so good out here, Brent.
Award-winning and most trusted news.
Brent, the thief broke into the donut shop in the middle of the night. Be on the lookout. The man is in his late 60s, heavy set, and wearing some kind of hat.
First, live, local.
Is this a paranormal show? Why am I doing the weather?
This is Paranormal Portal News.
Oh my God! Even the unknown says Wes cheated. Even the ghost box voted kind of. It said frame, Frame, frame. Yeah, that wasn't me in that picture, by the way. That was clip art, according to us. All right, here's the second one. This is from the unknown. Excellent video. Both of them are excellent. Again, this isn't a popularity contest. Just which one do you think would be the best lead-in for the show? Because I'm going to use both of them. All right, here's the next one from the unknown.
All the news you love, from the wild to the weird to the fascinating or interesting, with your host Brent Thomas.
Beautifully done. Very beautifully done. So there we go, folks. Those are the two options, 1 and 2. So whichever one you think would be the best lead-in, use that number. If you think 1 would be the best lead-in for the news, give me a 1. If you think number 2 would be a best lead-in for the news, give me a number 2. Time to vote. Let's see what you guys got. Yeah, Wes loves you. Yeah, I love Wes, too. He's a great guy. The guy is so funny. He's just so funny. He's got an incredible sense of humor. Duh, Noose, you got it. All right, very good. Got some 2s, got some 1s. Oh, you guys are going to make me count this. Somebody count these. Okay, so over in Rumble, Barbara Moore is giving it a 1. Justin Gooder is giving it a 1. I don't know. Can somebody count these seriously? Because, I wasn't prepared for this. I like them both, but love one. Yeah, I think they're both incredibly well done. I still think you should act out a scene where you're looking at papers and taking a sip from your coffee. And then suddenly you notice your audience and give a wave. Yeah, I probably should. That would be good. That would be good, actually. I need some producers to help. You guys are brilliant. Okay. All right. Wish Wes would be an SOR guest. Yeah, that would be a great fit for sure. All right, so what do we got? Does anybody tally these up for me, please? Just give me ones equal and then twos equal. Unknown one, his was better. Number 2. Hey, Wes, thank you guys both. I really appreciate both of you. This is it's really amazing. I don't deserve you guys, but I appreciate you both. So let's see what we end up with here. Has anybody tallied these? Good evening, Wes. Hey, Chucky, good to see you, brother. I didn't know we were allowed to make it an hour long. I don't know. I don't know if there's, I didn't really care how long it was, honestly. Brent, poll it in Discord. Yeah, but that'll only work for people that are in Discord. Not everybody's in there. But if somebody tallies that up, I'd appreciate it. But in the meantime, let's get to the news. I'm just going to go right to the screen and we'll start there. But great job, both of you guys. That was really incredible stuff. I'm humbled. I'm humbled by your loves. Oh, got ones 6, 2s, 9 so far. Okay. All right. And then there's two ones over on Rumble as well. So add that to the ones, or 2 ones. Yeah, 2 ones. Now I'm confusing myself. My God. Anyway, let's get to the news. Here we go. All right. Welcome to the news desk. You've seen 2 intros, and thank you all for being a part of the decision making here on the show. I appreciate it. But I'm actually kind of flummoxed, actually, looking at both of those again. That's really humbling stuff. You guys are too kind to me, 9-2-7-1 so far. 1's 8 and 2's 9. Okay. All right. Is that everybody? Okay. Very cool. Well, then we'll use Wes's for the outro, and we'll see what goes on here, because I got the news to give you. Now, remember, guys, throughout the course of the show, I utilize a lot of different websites and really amazing sites. These sites are doing the incredible job documenting, coming up with material and such that we use here on the show. So please support these sites. Please visit them. Give them your love, because they're doing it as well as I've found on the internet in all my years of interneting. So just don't want to see them go anywhere. Hey, Tony Rathman, what's up, brother? Good to see you over on Facebook. Great to have you here, man. Thank you for stopping in. Appreciate you. It's nice to see the comments come in from Facebook. That way I know it's working. Because there's 5 platforms we're streaming to right now, so it's hard to keep track of all of them. I can only basically look at Rumble and YouTube at the same time. Everyone else, I'm just kind of trusting it's working. And that's fine. So we're going to get to the news. Remember, not all of these are paranormal stories. They are just interesting or fun or unusual or whatever. But I hope you guys find value in tuning in and checking out these stories. I have a lot of fun doing the news and discussing some of these, because some of them are just bizarre. Like, how bizarre? Well, the first story is going to probably stretch your limits of what is bizarre. This one probably goes way deeper into the more disturbing category. And I'll let you be the judge. But we're going to get to the first story tonight. Comes from, I don't know if this is now, or is it a recent story, or is it? Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It seems to be a recent story. The graphic they use, or the image they use, doesn't look recent, but you'll see what I mean in a second. If you have a weak constitution, you might want to tune this one out. But that's all I can say. All right, the first story tonight comes from unexplained-mysteries.com, folks. And this has been a staple of the news for a long time, because nobody does it better. Please check out their site. Here it is. Boy, this is the kind of news story you just don't even like to talk about. But here it is. From the world of the bizarre of unexplained-mysteries.com, hospital evacuated after explosive shell found lodged in patient's behind.
Well, how'd that get there?
Oh, no. Yes. Probably what you're thinking, even though it's not comfortable to think it. Here we go. Let's see what it says, because, folks, you can't make this stuff up. The truth is actually stranger than fiction. The object had that had somehow ended up in a very unfortunate place had left the man in extreme discomfort. In what could be one of the strangest stories we featured in a long time, reports out of France this week have told of the case of a man who went to Rangil Hospital in Toulouse, however they say that, complaining of significant discomfort caused by
a foreign object inserted in his rear end.
What are you doing? I'll tell you a story after this. True story. Not my own story, by the way, just to clarify that before you go crazy. To make matters worse, to help the man, the doctors performed a procedure to remove the object, but when they extracted it, they discovered to their horror that it was in fact a World War I era artillery shell. Oh my God. What? Oh my God. What followed was an evacuation of the building while the bomb disposal experts set up a security perimeter so that the device could be properly assessed. Fortunately, it turned out to be inert and did not pose any risk to the public. Well, that's good, because that's not the kind of thing you should be playing with. Questions have since been raised over exactly how the ordnance had ended up in such an unfortunate place and how the man had come to have the shell to begin with. It's thought that he could now face charges for possessing Category A munitions, whatever the legal consequences. However, it can't possibly be worse than having the thing lodged in his ass. I'm just going to say it because he deserves that. What the hell is wrong with some people? Now, that may sound like a bizarre thing, right? But I think I don't think I think it's still really unusual. But I have my cousin's dad, which is, I guess, a cousin of mine. I don't know how the hell the whole relations work, but he's a doctor, and he was a doctor. He's passed away now, but he told me a story of a guy that came in with a really big squash, a really big squash, and he couldn't get it out. And the doc asked him, like, how did this happen? And the guy came up with some story about how he was on a ladder in his garage and he slipped and he fell. And somehow the squash was just in the wrong position. I almost said right position, but wrong position to become lodged in his anus, I guess. And so I mean, and he told me about the X-rays. He said it was the damnedest thing he'd ever seen. It was like there was an X-ray, and then the X-ray is this perfect outline of a huge squash in this guy's ass. So I don't know. Yeah, no, I don't. I think he started from the wrong side with that squash, Rachel. He didn't like work it through to there. It's where he began it. Well, yeah, exactly. What was he doing on a ladder naked in his garage? Yeah, I think the problem is it was not a holy shit Batman. For a 420 man in the West. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if that's some kind of psychological thing, but there is disorder. There's a lot of weird disorders out there. And I suspect it's not one we talk about very much. It's one I don't ever want to talk about again, but I saw this news story and I was like, oh, we got to talk about that one. So there you go. That's the first disturbing news story of the night. And God, I hope that's the last one. I don't know what I pulled up here, but let's check out the next story. And I think we'll end up more normal than this one, thank God. But that's just, it literally is true. The truth is stranger than fiction a lot of times. So there we go. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, this one is spirituality. Oh, really? Okay. This one has to do with spirituality files from unexplained-mysteries.com. A row in Australia, as teachers told to tell kids about dinosaurs on Noah's Ark. Oh, I don't think it was big enough for all of that. Concerns have been raised in Queensland over instructions to teach Christian school children to doubt science. This is not really big. I guess it's okay. The teaching of creationism in schools has long been a contentious subject, but in Australia recently, concerns were raised when a Christian Science conference informed science teachers from a number of Christian schools that they should teach children some highly questionable material. Those attending the event, which was hosted by U.S.-based fundamentalist group Answers in Genesis, were instructed to tell their students, among other things, that there were vegetarian baby dinosaurs aboard Noah's Ark. Oh, really? Okay. During one presentation by Australian geologist Andrew Snelling, they were also told that the radiometric dating technique used to show that fossils are millions of years old is flawed, and that mountain ranges such as the Himalayas were formed during the Great Flood. In Australia, it is compulsory for children to be taught the approved syllabus. The students need to understand evolution as an explanation for the diversity of life and talk about the scientific evidence that supports the theory, said Professor David Geelan, the president of the Science Teachers Association in Queensland. A thoughtful and nuanced teacher at a Christian school could say, at our church, we believe X. For your assessments, you should demonstrate your understanding of the scientific theory as currently developed, but I'm not sure that always happens. Geelan also expressed concern that Answers in Genesis is pushing science denialism in children. They say scientists are lying to you, and that very often forms up with other forms of science denialism. He said that distrust of science is the main negative. They probably shouldn't be teaching things that directly contradict the syllabus. Well, I'm all for, teaching things as closely as you can to your faith, but I don't think you should rewrite history necessarily. I don't know. Maybe you should. I don't know. I don't know what to think about stuff like this, folks. It's tough because, I know faith is important for people and adhering to faith is important, but I don't think, I almost wonder if things like this could, I don't know if it matters. Does it really matter? Or do you think it cripples children to teach such things? I really don't know. I'm honestly confused on how to stand on this one, because I think people can believe whatever the hell they want, and that's fine. And I'm not qualified to tell them what they should or shouldn't believe, but I don't know how to insert dinosaurs into Noah's Ark, if that's appropriate or not. So I guess you come to your own conclusions. Honestly, I don't know what opinion to have. Does it harm anything? Maybe, probably not. I don't know. Maybe it does, though. Maybe I'm not looking at this objectively. I don't know. You guys have to let me know in the chat what you guys think, or in the comments later if you're not watching it live. It's a confusing one for me because I do believe faith is important, and certainly undermining people's faith just, to force them to regurgitate another point of view sounds actually more damaging, but creating a whole different narrative than what can be established, I don't think is helpful either. There's no establishment for that. They don't really discuss whether there was dinosaurs, but there is mention of dragons, throughout history and such. So maybe that's dinosaurs that were once babies on the ark. Hell, I don't know. I'm just thinking on my feet here. But anyway, that's the second story. I don't know what the hell to think of that. So think what you want, I guess. Welcome to the Paranormal Portal. Oh, thank you, Jason. Good to be here. Good to see you, though. Thanks for coming in, Jason. All right, let's go to the next one from Space and Astronomy. This will be our last one tonight, and then we'll continue on. Out of control Chinese rocket almost causes UK national emergency. Oops. What's going on, China? Good thing it was a rocket and not something else. But apparently they had a missile go awry around the UK. A rocket that had been plummeting the Earth had a chance of falling on the UK and Northern Europe this week. According to reports, the UK government had been readying its emergency alert system recently to prepare for the possibility of debris from a Chinese rocket falling over the country. Officials had asked mobile network providers to ensure that the alert system, which flashes an emergency message on the mobile phones of those affected, was working. The rocket, a Chinese, I don't know how to say that, Zhuk 3, had launched back in early December, and sometime after launch, its second stage, an object dubbed ZQ-3RB entered an uncontrolled and decaying orbit instead of being carefully brought back down in a controlled manner. Its re-entry into Earth's atmosphere was unplanned and prompted concern regarding where it would end up, with the UK and Northern Europe being two potential crash sites. The EU's Space Surveillance and Tracking Agency had described it as quite a sizable object deserving careful monitoring. Fortunately, though, the end completely missed the UK and Europe, instead coming down in a remote part of the Pacific Ocean, some 1,200 miles from New Zealand. Oh, that's a big miss. That's like on the other side of the planet. Man, they weren't even close. As more and more junk ends up in Earth's orbit, however, some experts estimate 1 in 10 chance that someone will end up being killed by falling debris from within the next 10 years. A study also found that there was a 1 in 1,000 chance of debris hitting a commercial airliner. Oh, God. Be more afraid. Keep being more afraid. Are you afraid? You're not afraid enough, because this could happen too. What are you going to do? When your number comes up, it comes up, folks. I don't know. That's what I believe. You can do your best to mitigate this kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, when it's time, you're going home. That's it. I don't know. You guys hear that TV? That's driving me freaking crazy. This is my suggestion. Hey, you didn't know what to do. I'm like, watch cricket. Watch a movie. Cricket. That's not a cricket. It's a movie. There shouldn't be any crickets. It's too cold. Too cold for crickets. All right. Well, there you go. That's that article. And this has been a presentation of the news. And I don't have any more news for you for today. So let's get back to the rest of the show. Are you ready? Because there's more. Here we go.
From every corner of the world, this is the moment everything changes. Breaking developments, global impact, real-time urgency. This is Paranormal Portal News, the most trusted news.
Bada boom. There we go. That's the old one. Last time we'll see that one. But, all right, we've got a lot more to get to. How you guys doing? Who's here? Let's do some shout-outs quick. I want to do some shout-outs because right now we got Dog Digger, Car Juice 2, Justin Goodearth and Barbara Mora over on Rumble. I know HB Girl was over there as well, but I think that's everybody over there currently. So good to see all you guys. Thank you for being here. And then let me check out the YouTubes, because there's always lots going on there. That's our biggest crowd, is YouTubes. And if you're coming from another platform like X or Facebook or Twitch, say hello in the chat so I can see you. But what do we got in YouTube? Well, make sure to talk on the chat so I can see that you're there. Because if you don't talk, I can't see you. It won't let me know you're here. But let's see who's here so far. 420 Man from the West, Aussie Boss Tiger, author, illustrator BJ Lapierre, Chucky Danger, David Zeismer, Jason Finch, Jose Sanchez, Kel is here, Lori Gibbs is here, Owl is here, Rachel gets it right. Oh, Bob Thorson jumped in. Good to see you, Bob. Thank you for being here. 420 Man from the West, if I didn't say that already. There he is. Rachel gets it right. Sarah Stafford is here. Hi, Sarah. Uh-oh, more people are jumping in. Who jumped in? Chucky Danger jumped in. Okay, there we go. Standing Stones is here. Stony Jackson. Supernatural Station. That's Jaron. Good to see you, brother. T-Bone's in the house. And the Unknown's in the house. Someone else jumped in, but I don't know who it was. Who was it? Here. Oh, it's Bonnie Moore. Hi, Bonnie. Good to see you. The Unknown is still here. I'm here still. There we go. So I'm occupied, Karen Elberding says, but she's here as well. So thank you all for being here, those of you that are chatting. There's more. Hey, Brent from Michael Driscoll. How you doing, Father Mike? Good to see you, brother. It's been a long time. It's great to have you back. Thanks for finding your way home. Hope you've been good. Thanks for coming in. All right, that is the shout outs as I have them now, but great to have you here, everybody. You guys are amazing. So we're going to jump to an article that we've covered on another show. I think we're at number 7, and this is Top 10 Incredible Stories Told by Credible People. Was this the one? Really? Oh, yeah. No, I haven't even touched this one. I was wrong. Okay, this one it's kind of a cool one. I thought there was one I was already working through. Oh, that one was the new one that I pulled up. Okay. And then this one. Yep, I did that one so I can close this one. Okay. I just got to remember to close tabs sometimes. We're going to do this one, though. This is Top 10 Incredible Stories Told by Credible People. So some of them are a little into the strange and unusual, not necessarily paranormal. But they are unusual, which makes them not normal, which kind of by definition makes them paranormal, if that works out. In your guesstimations, but good to be here. Good to have you here, Father Mike. Sorry. But here it is, top 10. This is from Listverse, listverse.com, and Listverse is a pretty cool site. I've really enjoyed it through the years. I don't use it heavily, but I use it quite a bit through the years, because they do have some amazing lists, and you can find lists of every kind, just like Ranker, just like Thought Catalog. These are incredibly robust sites that cover a lot of subject matter. So I'm sure they'd have something you'd be interested in. So check them all out. This is, again, what I hope to do is promote these sites as well, because they are really incredible. All right, here we go. Top 10 incredible stories told by credible people. Let me frame this up a little better. It's kind of all over the map. There we go. Pull it in. Make it look good. There we go. All right, let's have a look. That kind of went a little sideways there, didn't it? Let's do this. There we go. Okay. I think that'll be better. All right, here we go. The top one, or number 10, I guess. Charles Lindbergh and the Gremlins. Did you guys ever hear this? This is a claim, apparently. Charles Lindbergh saw gremlins tearing up planes, but let's see what happens. Fans of the Twilight Zone are familiar with the gremlin, a mythological creature with a mischievous nature and an affinity for aircraft. Stories of gremlins originated with British Royal Air Force pilots who reported seeing small creatures in the cockpits or on the wings of their planes during World War I. Reports continued during World War II. Some described gremlins as benevolent and even helpful, offering guidance to help pilots avoid crashing, and others described them as destructive and dangerous, drinking fuel, biting through cables, and tearing holes into the wings of the plane. Like the gremlin on the Twilight Zones, who so vexed William Shatner and later John Lithgow. Before Shatner and Lithgow, there was a world-famous aviator, Charles Lindbergh, who wrote about his experience with gremlins in his book, The Spirit of St. Louis, from 1953. He described them as vaguely outlined forms, transparent, moving, riding, weightless, with me in the plane. Lindbergh said he felt reassured and not alarmed. These phantoms speak with human voices, friendly, vapor-like shapes, without substance, able to vanish or appear at will, to pass in and out through the walls of the fuselage as though no walls were there. That's pretty wild. Their voices, he said, were conversing and advising on my flight, discussing problems of my navigation, reassuring me, giving me messages of importance unattainable in ordinary life. While Lindbergh's story may easily be chalked up to fatigue from hours of flying, he relates the tale earnestly as a spiritual experience that led him to question the nature of his very existence. I mean, that's cool, right? He had him along and they were talking to him, kind of coaching him through the journey and helping keep his head straight. That's about the right kind of people you want with you on a flight. So the gremlins in that case sound good. The other ones, not so much. But they might have been enemy gremlins, during wartime. It's like, we're German gremlins. I don't know. I don't know if did Germany ever have any claims like that in their Air Force? I don't know. I've never heard of it before. So number 9, Robert Stacy Judd and the Hermit of Lolton. Robert Stacy Judd was an architect whose best-known building was, and still is, the Aztec home in Monrovia, California. Born and trained in England, Stacy Judd's work was influenced by the pre-Columbian architecture of Mexico and Central America. His Aztec hotel began the brief but wildly popular Mayan revival of the United States during the 1920s. It should be noted that the hotel is actually mostly Mayan in style, but Stacy Judd believed that Americans were more familiar with Aztecs than with the Maya. Stacy Judd's strange tale was recorded by the man himself in a manuscript he titled The Hermit of Lulton. While exploring the underground Lulton caves in the Yucatan, Stacy Judd and his party became hopelessly lost. As they tried to retrace their steps, he wrote that they encountered an old man whom he estimated to be well over 100 years old. Stacy Judd remarked that it was inconceivable for a person to live at least 30 meters or 100 feet beneath the floor of the jungle in an indeterminable distance from the entrance of the caves, further in than any person before had penetrated. Yet this is exactly where the hermit claimed to dwell, guarding Mayan treasure. The kindly hermit guided Stacy Judd and his party out of the caves before waving farewell and disappearing back inside. Wow. Have you guys ever heard of that before? Because I was literally today old when I learned of this. That's wild. Here we go with Teddy Roosevelt and Bigfoot, and if this is the Bauman incident, I'm sure that they're referring to. I heard a new take on this lately, and I'm not sure what this article is going to say, but some people claim that, I know that Teddy Roosevelt allegedly met Bauman himself in a like a pub or a bar or something in a town where they were commonly at. But some people have claimed that it might have been possibly Roosevelt's hunting and trapping party or whatever that pushed the Bigfoot into the Bauman experience, which is a horrifying report, by the way. Now, I will say that Bauman and his trapping partner probably escalated this whole situation a lot by taking shots at the Bigfoot when they first saw it, but they were probably terrified to death because they were in their camp at night around a fire, and suddenly this big hulking mass comes up, into the firelight, and they're like, "Nyah," and they just started pumping rounds. So they might have hit it and hurt it and caused it to go homicidal. And Bauman's partner was not very fortunate in this whole endeavor. And Bauman himself made it out kind of by the seat of his pants, it sounds like. But this Bigfoot or Sasquatch kind of creature basically went absolutely manic and made them its hobby. So if you haven't read the Bauman story, you should definitely check it out. It's very, very poignant and powerful. But I'd never heard the take that some people claim it was Roosevelt's party that was up in the area also and might have pushed the Bigfoot into the trappers area. So let's see what it says. Theodore Roosevelt, the 26th president of the United States of America, is well known as a hunter and lover of the outdoors. In the book titled Wilderness Hunter, Roosevelt related a story to him by a grizzled, weather-beaten old mountain hunter who went by the name of Bauman. Roosevelt said that Bauman's story impressed him, and while Roosevelt expressed some skepticism, he concluded that no man can say whether Bauman's story is true or not. He also states that frontiersmen are too hard and practical and have too little imagination to make up such stories. Here is the tale passed along by Roosevelt. Bauman and an unnamed companion were trapping beaver in a wild and lonely pass, where a solo hunter had apparently been killed and half eaten by some kind of beast the previous year. After some light exploration, Bauman and his partner returned to their camp to find that it had been visited by a bear, or so they thought. They then noticed that the prints appeared to belong to a bipedal creature. That night, Bauman was awakened by a noise and saw the loom of a great body in the darkness. Before he scared it away with a shot from his rifle, the two men didn't separate at all the next day, and when they returned to camp that evening, they found that it had been visited yet again. That night, they made a big fire and did their best to take turns sleeping. Around midnight, they observed the thing moaning and watching them from across the brook for nearly an hour. In the morning, the two men finally decided to leave after they'd gathered their traps. They separated one final time, and hours later, Bauman found his partner's still warm body with a broken neck and bite marks on his throat. Bauman fled immediately, leaving everything but his rifle. So, and that's a very abridged version of the story, but yeah, it's got all the meat and taters. So I don't know. It doesn't sound like that doesn't sound like it was Roosevelt's fault in that account, and that's the one that I'm familiar with. But there was somebody out there saying, no, it was because Roosevelt and them pushed it in there. Well, how do you know that? But maybe there's more to it. I don't know. All right. Number 7, Deke Slayton and the unidentified flying object. Here we go. This is astronaut Deke Slayton. And I'll put a link to this in the chat when we wrap up the article, probably on Friday, so you guys can check out the video itself. Donald Kent Slayton flew 56 combat missions in Europe and 7 over Japan during World War II, before becoming an aeronautical engineer and eventually an astronaut. In 1975, Slayton served as the Apollo docking module pilot for a mission that marked both the first successful test of a universal docking system and the first meeting in space between American astronauts and Soviet cosmonauts. For this and other contributions, Slayton earned a number of medals and honors, including the NASA Exceptional Services Medal and NASA Outstanding Leadership Medal and the Wright Brothers International Manned Space Flight Award. Slayton also appears to have found some footage appears in some found footage describing an encounter that he had in 1951 test flight with what he said first appeared to be a weather balloon. When Slayton doubled back to make a pass on it, he said the object no longer looked like a balloon, but like a saucer sitting on an edge. Slayton says the object took off, climbing at about a 45-degree angle, and just accelerated and disappeared. Obviously, he couldn't follow it with an old piston engine fighter, so I turned around and went home. Slayton wrote about the experience in his book, Deke, D-E-K-E. Well, there you go. Never heard about that one. René Descartes, I don't know if it's Descartes or Descartes. I don't know how the hell to pronounce that. And the Three Visions. Born in 1596, René was the French mathematician, scientist, and philosopher who said, "I think, therefore I am." Oh, that was him. Though Descartes' method of using philosophy, mathematics, and logic to understand the physical world led him to do some wrong conclusions, for example, that the heart moves blood through the body by heating it, he is also credited with inventing methodological skepticism and analytical geometry, or analytic geometry. Okay. He is sometimes referred to as the father of modern philosophy for his emphasis on doubt, observation, and experimentation. So perhaps this makes it more interesting that Descartes credited 3 dreams or visions with revealing to him some of his most important ideas. While visiting Nuremberg in Germany in 1619, Descartes said that he had 3 visions of flashing light and clapping thunder, and he was visited by a divine spirit, he said, and emerged from the experience with the concepts of analytic geometry fully formed in his mind. Ooh, a little thinking sauce there. There you go. Ooh, Charlie Chaplin and the Human Frog. This is a brand new one to me also. I've not heard of this. Charlie Chaplin is widely regarded as one of the most important figures in the history of film. He was a producer, writer, director, composer, actor, and comedian who initially shot to fame thanks to his character, the Little Tramp. Though Chaplin was reportedly fearful about transitioning to talkies after years of mastering the art of pantomime, he continued to enjoy great success after the silent film era, cementing his status as a legend of the silver screen. In his autobiography, Chaplin told of a disturbing experience he had as a teen while touring with a theater troupe. While lodging at a miner's house in, I don't know how to say this, Ubevale in Wales, Chaplin said his host offered to show him a human frog called Gilbert. Chaplin described Gilbert as half a man with no legs, an oversized blonde, flat-shaped head, a sickening white face, a sunken nose, a large mouth, and powerful muscular shoulders and arms, who crawled from underneath a dresser when summoned by Chaplin's host. Though he had no legs, the man had 10 thick, stubby toes sticking out from some cut-off flannel underwear. Gilbert smiled at Chaplin with a set of yellow, widely spaced teeth before launching himself into the air by his arms, almost to the height of my head, Chaplin said. Chaplin's story isn't necessarily unbelievable, but it is pretty incredible as well as creepy and sad. Even more disturbing is the infamous X-Files episode, Home, that was inspired by the tale. Yikes. Wonder what happened there. I don't know. I mean, it's Wales, though. Wales is one of those mystical places where maybe some weird stuff just exists. All right, King George V and the Flying Dutchman, number 4. King George, King of the United Kingdom during World War I, is remembered for his support of the middle class and his devotion to Great Britain as a whole. In 1881, King George V, then Prince George, and his older brother, Prince Albert, were on the HMS Inconstant off the coast of Australia. Their personal writings from the trip were later published, and either George or Albert wrote the following. On July 11th at 4 a.m., the Flying Dutchman crossed our bows. A strange red light of a phantom ship all aglow, in the midst of which light the masts and spars and sails of a brig 200 yards distant stood out in strong relief as she came upon the port bow. That's the left bow. The bow is the front, of course. Port is left, starboard is right. Just in case you're wondering. Anyway, back to the story. The lookout man on the forecastle reported her as close on the port bow, where also the officer of the watch from the bridge clearly saw her, as also the quarterdeck midshipman, who was sent forward at once to the forecastle, but on arriving there, no vestige nor any sign whatever of any material ship was to be seen, either near or right away to the horizon, but night being clear and the sea calm. George or Albert added that hours later, one of the seamen who also saw the vessel fell from the fore topmast, cross-tress on the top gallant forecastle, and was smashed to atoms, and then buried at sea. So maybe it was a harbinger or a foreboding, a sign of the impending doom of one of the sailors. That's sad. Number 3, Abraham Lincoln and the Two Faces in the Mirror. Abraham Lincoln's incredible tale is related in the book Recollections of Abraham Lincoln, 1847-1865, written by his close friend and bodyguard, Ward Hill Lamon.
Obviously not a really good bodyguard.
Anyway, according to Lamon, Lincoln confided in him about a chilling experience he had the night he was elected 16th President of the United States. Alone in his room, Lincoln glanced in the mirror and saw 2 versions of his own face, one reflecting the full glow of health and hopeful life, and the other showing a ghostly paleness. Ooh. Reportedly, when he was renominated in 1864, Lincoln recalled this experience and concluded that the ghostly face he had seen that night meant he would surely hear the fatal summons from the silent shore before the end of his second term. Wow. In Recollections, Lincoln's inability to reproduce this phenomena in another mirror was touted as mysterious. Now, that inability is held up as proof that this event was simply the result of a flawed mirror. I don't think that's necessarily it so at all. I don't know that it was a completely physical thing that he saw. He's just probably more of an energetic vision. Nevertheless, if one of Lincoln's close friends is to be believed, the sight had a profound and haunting effect on Lincoln during the last years of his life. Yeah, that would kind of suck. Sir Edmund Hillary and the Yeti. Here we go. This is the Yeti expedition. In 1953, Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay became the first people to climb to the summit of Mount Everest, the highest mountain above sea level in the world. Of course, Hillary was an experienced climber prior to this undertaking, having scaled the highest mountain in New Zealand, his home country, in 1948. In his book, High Adventure, Hillary wrote about his experience at over 5,800 meters or 19,000 feet high in the Himalayas in 1952, a year before his most historic climb. We were climbing quite a steep pitch when the Pemba, a Sherpa, stopped and picked something off the rock. Obviously greatly excited, he showed it to Eng Pemba. Feeling somewhat curious, I asked them what it was all about. They placed in my hand a tuft of long, black hairs, thick and coarse. They looked more like bristles than anything else. Yeti, Sahib, Yeti. I couldn't help being impressed by their conviction, and it did seem a strange place to find some hair. Hillary began conversing with explorer George Lowe about the find, but scenting our intentions, Pemba leaned forward and in his gnarled old hand snatched the tuft away and threw it far over the bluff. In fact, the experience made such an impression on Hillary that he later set out to investigate the existence of the Yeti, and it must be said, however, that Hillary ultimately concluded that no such creature exists. He shared his findings in 1961 Life magazine article, which explained away Yeti-related findings, and it ended by stating that it is undoubtedly in the field of mythology that the Yeti rightly belongs. One guy looks, doesn't find anything, so he's solving it for the world. What a guy.
Well, he said this.
Okay. Doesn't mean he's right. And the last one, William Leon Mackenzie King and the Spirits. William Leon Mackenzie King was a Prime Minister of Canada for more than 20 years, which included much of the Great Depression and all of World War II. His leadership, though famously cautious and compromising, has been credited with creating a stronger and more independent voice in the world for Canada. Despite his reputation for being a dullard,
He called him a dullard.
King actually held a number of bizarre beliefs which informed his decisions. He regularly looked to dead people, tea leaves, and even the formations of his shaving cream for guidance. King kept detailed handwritten logs of his experiences and conversations with spirits at seances and in dreams. He wrote accounts of speaking to everyone from his dead mother to former Prime Minister Wilfrid Laurier. So strange and voluminous were his stories that even one of his biographers, Alan Levine, wrote that it is impossible to comprehend how anyone, let alone a 60-year-old leader of a political party, could devote so much of his valuable time to scribbling this nonsense. Yet scribble it he did. There you go. And Hannah, who wrote this, lives in Seattle with her husband and dogs. Who is the author? Let's make sure to credit her because she did a great job. This is a great collection of weird, wonderful stories. Her name is Hannah McDonald, and this was from August 16th, 2017. I'll put the link in the chats if anybody wants to watch the video piece from that astronaut one. You sure can. Here is the link to it. Knock yourself out. There you go. Kind of fun, right? Kind of interesting, kind of fun. I like it. I liked it. I'm a fan. I'm a fan. Good to see everybody. Dyatlov Pass. Yeah. I think Spaced Out Radio has done quite a bit about Dyatlov Pass, actually. If you're ever looking for information, you sound like Homer when you do that voice.
Oh, really? Oh, thank you, Marge.
No, I'm just kidding. Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate it. I appreciate it. Please share and subscribe if you're here. You're quantum. Way to roll, Aussie. I like the way you represent, brother. Thank you. All right, let's move along. We got another segment to get to. This has been a fun one. I hope you guys enjoy this one. It's been pretty popular. Doesn't sound like a dullard to me. He sounds like an interesting guy. Yeah, I think so too, Phil. For what it's worth, I'm kind of really into all that stuff, you know. Not that I would necessarily drive my life by it, but I find it very fascinating when maybe you get guidance or ideas from otherworldly intelligences. Let's just say that. Because, you know, who knows what you're talking to, but if something was willing to share, kind of like those gremlins in the planes. I mean, That's awesome. I'd never heard the take that they were really helpful and helped to keep his head straight while he was doing that journey. That's awesome. But I'm not really a student of history either. But it is. This is a confessional shirt. Got that from Tony when he was in the area for Phenomicon and we hung out. Tony's a good guy. I like Tony. He's a busy guy, though. I never, ever get a chance to talk to him anymore. He is going all over the map, ladies and gentlemen. Tony Merkel and the Confessionals and all of his other projects. He is Tony's a machine. I don't think there's anybody possible that works harder than Tony. He's just one of those guys. He's literally a machine. And he's one of those guys that can survive on a few hours of sleep and just go balls to the wall every other hour of the day. He's just a force of nature. Yep. So yeah, it's a confessional shirt. It's funny you recognize that. Yep. Got some cool documentaries out there. You're absolutely right, Jaron. He does. Yep. All right. So we're going to get to the next segment, which has been a fun one. I've really enjoyed doing it. And I think most of you guys have as well. This segment is called What the hell is that? Indeed. What the hell is that? This segment is where we showcase some video, sometimes picture, sometimes video evidence of the paranormal. And some of it may very well be legit. Some of it very well may not be legit. And some of it clearly is not legit. So I started doing this segment just because it became really disturbing to me how much confirmation bias there is on a lot of this stuff. And I think it's important to really establish some critical thinking in a lot of it because, not everything can be paranormal. Not everything can be out of this world. Some stuff is just normal and that's okay. I know that, I have a confirmation bias for all of this stuff. I really do, but I can't ignore logic and critical thinking. And I think that that's one of the motivators for me personally doing this segment is I wanted to reinforce that idea that, we have to be critical thinking about this stuff and don't just, jump onto every bus that passes by and say, yeah, I'm all in. So that was kind of the birth of it all. Our spaced out radio, Mr. Dave Scott. How you doing, brother? If B. Arthur doesn't make you say moist. What is jutted? Then nobody will. I've never heard of jutted before. That's a new word for me, Dave. Good to see you, brother. Thanks for stopping in. I appreciate it. And remember, after the show, folks, you go over. If you're still got a hankering for some more paranormal and goodness, go check out Spaced Out Radio on YouTube. Dave does 3 hours starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. And he does a hell of a show. So if you aren't familiar with Spaced Out Radio, go over and check it out. Let him know the portal sent you. All right, here we go. This is the first one that we're going to review. Matt Knapp over on Bigfoot Crossroads posts some really cool videos. They're older interviews, and some of these are absolutely fascinating, and a lot of these I'd never heard before. So I find them really good. This one, I don't know which one it is. It's just Bigfoot Crossroads podcast. Let me shrink it more and see if there's more information. No, this is James Dutch Haller, Bigfoot Encounter. So this is brand new to me. I think I might have watched it when I first pulled it up, but I've forgotten now. So let's check it out. Just had to get a little moisture on my lips. All right, here we go. James Dutch Haller, posted by Bigfoot Crossroads podcast on Facebook. Definitely support what Matt's doing. Matt does a hell of a show too, and he's a great guy as well. So let's get to this one, and that is right here. Now, also during the course of these pieces, where I ask you guys to vote. This one probably won't need to vote on too much because it's just somebody's take. He's not really showing evidence. He's just sharing his experience. So not much to vote. But on the other ones, I'm going to ask you, look, what you're seeing, do you think it might be real or do you think it's not real? If you think it's real, vote in the chat with a 1. If you think it's not real, vote in the chat with a 0. If you think it's somewhere in the middle, give me a decimal point. That's fine too. Just show me what you think. All right. So here we go. This is James Dutch Haller Bigfoot encounter. Let's turn on the sound. We're going to need that. Here we go.
And we hadn't got anything, so we stopped at one more spot to check it. Just as I got into the head of the canyon, I happened to glance back to one side, and there this thing was. And so when I started to turn, well, it turned and walked away from me and got into the brush real quick, and I thought then that it was a bear up on its hind legs that had maybe had a trap on a front foot or something and had run on its hind legs. So then of course I took right in after it, and I went down the canyon a little ways, and I come to another opening, and this thing was standing right out in the opening, like it was waiting for me or something. And when I come busting out into this opening, he just standing there looking at me, and I seen then that it wasn't a bear, and because it was tall, maybe 7 foot, had hair all over it, was like a man. It didn't look like an ape. It looked more like a man. You know, it didn't have the real short legs like an ape, and it walked upright, swung its arms when it walked, and you know, it was just too human to be an ape or a gorilla or something like this, but still, it wasn't a man, you know, and we just didn't know what the heck it was.
So there you go. Very cool experience, and again, it's one of those older ones that I didn't heard of, but there's tons of those out there. I don't know if where that comes from. I'd love to know if that was from some documentary that was filmed, you know, back in the 70s or 60s or whatever. Looks like it's from the 70s. You got to love those real, it's not stereo, it's mono kind of microphones. Very tinny and harsh sounding, but it's what they had back in the day. So very cool. All right. That was the first one. No real reason to vote on that one. It's just more informational, but I thought I'd pass it along because those are also fun. So the next one comes from Sam and Colby, and this is a group, a couple guys that have been doing online videos forever, and they do a lot of investigations. So I don't remember what this one was at all, but I think it shows some kind of evidence, as I recall. I've had this one open since like Sunday, and I've forgotten what it was. So let's check this one out. Again, Sam and Colby is on Facebook. They're on YouTube, so follow them and check out their investigation videos. I'm not certifying that what they're experiencing is real or not, but it's certainly worth watching. I know these guys have been at it for a long time. They appeared on Rogan and seem to have, pretty good visit there. And they're doing exceptionally well with their channel. So support what they're doing. And that's the Sam and Colby on Facebook, their Facebook posting, but I think their lion's share of what they do is on YouTube. So let's check this one out. Here it is. You might be familiar with them, you might not, but anyway, they do a lot of investigations. It's a kind of a younger crowd, so it's a little more aloof than I think a lot of other shows, but that's okay. They're young and they're having fun. So here it is. This is Sam and Colby.
Gray. What the actual is going on?
Just not working out.
It said gray. The ghost box said gray. I wonder what gray means. I don't know. But anyway, maybe it's talking about my hair. It's white, not gray.
I'm gonna put this. Look. It's not us.
Oh, yeah.
What the actual is going on?
Just not working at all.
I'm gonna put this.
Watch it again.
Look. It's not us.
So basically, something's going on, some sound or something. They're saying, look, it's not us. They put the camera on the tripod, and they both step back. And in the background of the closet, you see this little weird ball head kind of thing jump up from out of nowhere. It looks like it melts out of the floor and then goes to the right. So the question is, it's not a lot to go on. I'm not expecting, a lot of comprehensive thought on this. Just, does that look paranormal? Because it does to me, but I'm kind of curious. Yeah, a little grudge kid, maybe. Kind of curious what you guys think. What do you think? Does this look like it might be actual paranormal evidence that they captured, or do you think it's just identified something else. But it does look like it comes right out of the floor, not like from between something coming out. It's kind of melting up, So it's very weird. So let's see what you got. Supernatural Station's all in on this one. Rachel's all in. Mr. Bone PPO is all in. That looks real to them. Sarah says rat problem, and it could be. Elaine gives it a 1. Aussie Boss Tiger gives it 1. Halfway there for Kedstar. Maybe real, maybe not. 0.4 from Pixie, a little less than halfway. 0 from Stony Jackson, not buying it. Adventures with Beth, I have trouble believing them. Looks like a hedgehog from the Grieving Model, 0.5. Here, Kitty Get Up, 0 from T-Bone. D Ocean's giving it a 1. Oh, gray is in a gray area. I hadn't even shown it yet, though, BJ. I don't know. That could be, but I don't know. Maybe there's seeing ahead in time. Standing Stone's halfway. Karen Alberting's halfway. Over on Rumble, we got Justin Goodearth with a 1. Dog Digger's in there, giving it a 0.75. Barbara Morrow 1. It looks like a weird spider. Oh, that's a creepy thought, isn't it? Car Juice giving it a 1. Justin Goodearth giving it a 1. And looks like at least most of the votes are halfway or all the way in, that it looks paranormal. And fair enough. I don't know how to explain it. I mean, it literally looks like it's melting up from the floor. That's very disturbing, whatever the hell they caught. I hope to God it's not a spider, because that's double creepy. I've covered spiders stories through the years, and there's some massive spiders people have seen that don't seem to be really in this dimension, but they can appear in this dimension. It's like something out of Stephen King. It's just really disturbing. So, yeah, maybe that's a real phenomenon. But whatever it is, it caught their attention, and then they apparently caught it on camera. So that's that one. I think it's pretty cool. Let's get to the next one. And this one is also from Facebook. See, I got a ton of them here. I got a ton of these videos lined up. All right, let's close Sam and Colby and get to the next one. This one's from The Wandering Ghost. This is a photo. It says, taken a few years ago, early in the morning, there were no children present. Now, I got to say, that kid has a really disturbing complexion compared to everyone else that has very... Now, it could be a Photoshop. It doesn't take much to change the tone of somebody's skin. It's a weird addition. Looks to be looking up at his head. I'm not sure what he's holding there. Is that a fish or what? I don't know. But it's a very strange picture. The claim is there's no kids there. And I know there's a million questions with things like this, like, well, how can we verify that? Can we hear the guy interviewed? Can we look at the site? Any number of things that you would normally do to either approve or debunk something. We can't do that. All we can do is just at face value. Do you think this could be a little ghost? Maybe someone that drowned near there. If they are indeed fishing and this is a fish, then maybe that's a kid that didn't have such a good time at the lake. I don't know. But what do you guys think? Time to vote. Let's see. 1, if you think that's a ghost kid. 0, you think it's a bunch of bunk, or somewhere in between. The Grieving Model, nope, not buying it. To me, it kind of looks like that guy is holding whatever he's holding. What did that say? As a kid. Oh, like a photo mashup kind of. Maybe. That could be. 0, should send you ghost photo taken in the house at my wife's brother. Absolutely, send it to me. Paranormal Portal Radio at gmail.com. I'll be happy to share it on this segment too. Let's see. Stony Jackson, nope, he's not buying this. Bad tans for Guidos. What are you talking about, huh? All right, Karen Alberting, nope. Vampire Man, 24 Vampire Man, giving it a 0.75. 0.5 from Supernatural Station, but yeah, we received a picture from listeners that I will share with you if you're willing to have them vote on this one next time. It's really intriguing. Absolutely, brother. Just email it to me. Let's see. Aura Gray. Oh, well, that's interesting. What if it's a little gray alien hybrid or something? That's creepy. T-Bone, nope. Author, illustrator, BJ the Peer, nope. 0 from Adventures with Beth. 0 from Chucky Danger. 0.1 from Philip Blair. 1 from Aussie Tiger. He's all in. Pixie Ranger, 0.25. 0 from Bonnie Moore. Just his Korean girlfriend. She's a little short. I don't want to even touch that any longer because it's going to go all wrong. So I'm going to leave that alone. Mr. Bone PPO says, nope. D Oceans, nope. Any chance of zooming in? Sure, I can zoom in a little bit. That's a good idea. Thank you for thinking of that. I got to get rid of that little right-left thing. Okay, so, yeah, that face does look really kind of creepy, though. Kind of reminds me of that picture out of Hawaii where that lady's hiking and there's that weird figure emerging from the brush that she swears wasn't there. We've covered it on the show before, and maybe some of you are familiar with it if you aren't familiar with it from this show, but it's that same kind of dead complexion. It's really disturbing. Any chance of zooming in? Did that owl? Nope. Rachel gets it right. Nope. Looks like a stick he's holding. I don't know. It looks like there's a fin there. And it looks like there's another potential fin that's kind of sideways here. But it could be. I don't know. Could be a vacuum cleaner for all I know. He's just cleaning things up. Cadstar, nope. Noper, says Carol. Nope. 0. Reflection on the bag. Oh, that's interesting. Well, it looks like she's kind of standing behind him, though. So she would already be in shadow. And maybe it's just a shadow. But that flash should be illuminating her. The flash should kind of go out at like almost a 180. Flash is only good for about 20 feet, but I mean, it's clearly illuminating the area behind just fine. So I don't know how she would be in shadow, or if that's a bag and it's a reflection. That's not impossible, but our skin doesn't usually act like a mirror like that and create a rebound of a tone. A light, sure. But anyway, it's not impossible. That's a great take. I just don't know what to think. He looks a little bit like Tom Hanks. Yeah, if Tom Hanks was a Guido. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Let's see. Larry and Shirley Bell, 0. Elaine, 0.5. Jose, 0.5. Maybe the kid's just dirty and needs a shower. That's a deep clean needed there. Clean up on aisle 1. I bet he thinks she's just the right height. Oh, no. Oh, no. I'm not touching that one either. Death mask. Yeah, I don't know, Carol. Amanda's Crazy Life channel. Nope, not buying it. So it looks like that. Brent knows his photography. I usually do. I did go to through college for photography, not to a degree, but I did take classes, college level classes in photography. Car Juice is giving it a nope. Justin Goodearth, nope. Pixels looks same as the fellas. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. It's not a perfect fit. There is a weird border on the figure that could be a little smudging from photoshopping, if possible, but not convincingly photoshopped either. It's just anomalous, and if it's an apparition, that could account for it. Yeah. Prop-like. Like a prop. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's an interesting photo. Is it real? I don't know. I don't know about ghost photos a whole ton, but I'm sure that they exist. I'm sure that people have captured apparitions in pictures. I'm not sure if this is one or not. I just don't know. Her positioning seems awful weird to me in a really bizarre way. Like, she's really short, but her legs seem to extend as if they would be here, standing right alongside of this guy. But her eyes look like she's looking up at the back of his head as if she's behind him. So there's a few triggers for me personally that I quite don't know what to do with it. But I think this is probably, well, honestly, when you're doing photos in an investigation, you should always do them in batches of 3 so you can get the before and after and then whatever it is. Or something might show up on one frame that doesn't show up on the other 2, and you can compare them and maybe help to isolate what's going on. But I'm sure this is just a, hey, look at the fish I caught. If this is a fish, I don't know what the hell he's holding. And then we're not getting any kind of a description from the wandering ghost either, which is where this comes from. But it's a fascinating shot. It could be real. Maybe not, but thank you guys for voting. And we'll move on to the next one, which is this one. This one is kind of cool. This is a video. It's already playing. Unfortunately, I didn't mean for it to be. But it's coming from My Haunted Hotel, and I assume it's the actual hotel itself's webpage. And this is on Facebook, but it's My Haunted Hotel. And I think it's a very haunted hotel. I think it's in England, and they have all these rooms set up like this, and they already have cameras in them to catch stuff going on. But I want you to focus here in this area of the frame. Let me move it over just a little bit because it's all the action. Oh, thank you, Elaine. I appreciate it. Elaine remembered. She's now been with me for 43 months. Wow. Thank you so much. But watch over here in the dolls that are standing up on this bureau over here. I think this is the focal point. But you can be the judge. Is it paranormal or not? Here we go. Let's turn on the sound and let's have a check. Hear a ticking clock or something. Nice arrow to let you know when to look. Oh, tipped over sideways. Uh-oh. But I'm not sleeping. The split screen for some reason. Here we go again. Tips sideways first, then falls right off the dresser. So, question is, I'm going to turn off the sound. Time to vote. Do you think this is apparently paranormal activity captured on the camera? Apparently the location is a very haunted hotel. I don't know the specifics of the hotel, but it looks like an incredible site. And I'm definitely going to check it out more because I want to look for more of their videos. Do you think this is real? Is that a ghost knocking that doll off there? If it's been there for hours and hours and hours and suddenly now decided to fall down, don't know what time. It says it's 20:49. What is 20:49? Is that 10:49 at night? Or 8:49 at night? Yeah, I guess 20 is 8, right? So 8:49, almost 9 p.m. It looks very dark. It looks like January 29th of this year. So this is a brand new one, guys. This is brand new according to the marks from their cameras up on the top here. So it's about almost 9 p.m. The 29th of January of this year. Let's see what you guys thought. Let's see what you're voting. And orb goes by. And an orb goes by. Yeah, it does. Yeah, there is a little bit of an orb. Could be dust. I'm not big about orbs, but it does seem pretty coincidental that the orb shoots up after the doll goes down. So there is that as well. Let's check it out. Jose gives it. Yeah, he's all in. T-Bone noticed the orb. Good play. Chucky Danger's all in. BJ Lapierre's all in. 0.5 from the Grieving Model. 24 Vampire says, yep. Stoney says, yep. Rachel's all in. T-Bone's all in. Kedster, yep. Aussie Boss Tiger, yep. 0.5 from Adventures with Beth, maybe. D Oceans is giving it all in. Could be a truck driving by. 0.5, sure, but I can't imagine there was only one truck ever drove by. But it is interesting. It's not impossible. You're right, Sarah. But it certainly could be paranormal as well. Karen Alberding is giving it a 0.2. Kind of giving it a shot, but not much. The orb is real, T-Bone says. Yeah, it could be. Could be. I just know that there's a lot of false positives for orbs, especially in digital apertures. They pick up dust. There's always air circulating going on, and things that appear to be big orbs can literally be little dust mites very close to the lens, picking up the IR booster light. So it's not always an orb, but I will give you that in this instance, the orb is really peculiar timing to when that doll falls. Amanda's Crazy Life Channel 1. Jose's all in on a 1. Why does a hotel have so many dolls in the room? Because I think it's a haunted hotel and it's part of their shtick. Like, they're not trying to be the Hilton. They're trying to be a haunted hotel, so they're kind of stacking it with creepy. Hotel, it looks like my storage room. Did you see it? Yeah, but the dust is real. Yeah, dust is usually one of the most common culprits for orbs in the digital sensors, the CMOS sensors. One, the doll moved. Unknown's giving it a 0. One, the doll moved. Real for sure from Supernatural Station. And Ben from Oz, a laptop computer with work on the screen, $2.99. God bless you, Ben. Thank you, brother. We got a room open. My kids' old bunk beds are in there. Sorry about that. Yeah. I don't know how big the hotel is. Might not be very big. I don't know. The orb isn't round. So, yeah, I mean, it's not that it couldn't be. I'm not saying it couldn't be real. Oh, Carol Pack donated 5. Let me go through the voting first, and then we'll visit this. That looks like it's it for YouTube. What do we got over on Rumble? 1, an orb thing floating by. Yep, Barbara noticed that as well. Car Juice is all in. Dog Digger is almost all there. 70.75. 0.5 from Justin Gooder. Stuff falls. Sorry to be that guy. No, it's fine. That's part of the critical thinking that I really reinforce you guys to look at as you're looking at this stuff. I like that you're questioning this stuff. Believe me, that's the whole reason I started doing this segment. So, well played, sir. Well played. And to all of you that said it. Susie Wright gives it a 0. Okay. All right. Here we go. Let's get to Carol Pack donating 5 memberships. Thank you, Carol. And it looks like New Generexo got 1, as did Data Druid, as did Casey Philpott, and You Favorite Uncle got 1, as did Rob Stewart. Congratulations, all 5 of you. You're now 30-day members to the channel. I really appreciate you giving it a shot. If you love it, continue. If not, thanks for being here. Appreciate it a bunch either way. And thank you, Carol. That's amazing. I really, really appreciate it. So, all right, got more. There's more. But wait, there is more. Let's get to the next one. Yeah, I think this could be legit. I really do. If that doll was standing there for days, weeks, hours, and just suddenly fell like that, and I mean, it went sideways first. It'd be a hell of a vibration to suddenly hit it. Not that it couldn't be some big thing driving by that doesn't usually drive by. Sure, I don't know the location. I don't know the layout or how close a truck would be to this room window, but it could be possible that it's a truck. Hell, I have train tracks that are literally about between a 1.5 mile away from my house. And I can literally look at a bottle of water and it'll be wiggling from the train that I can hear off in the distance. So it's, and this is long ways away from that. You wouldn't think so, but the ground can be true conduits for vibrations and stuff, depending on what kind of ground you're on. So that's not without possibility. All right, let's get to the next one. This one is also from Facebook, coming from, what the hell? Oh, David Barnes. Yeah, that's right. Coming from the Wout Company, W-O-U-T. We couldn't believe our eyes, so I started filming. This one's kind of a quick one. I don't know. You be the judge. Is it fakeable? Hell yeah, it's fakeable. This would be very fakeable, and not even complex fakeable. Could it be legit? Yeah, it could be. So this one's going to be a judgment call. We don't know. These guys are claiming it's a real event. So let's see what they show us. Here it goes. Look at that thing on the wall.
Cadu, faz alguma pergunta. Eu? Tá maluco?
Okay, the dog's driving me nuts on this one, but it's like a little antique toy that you'd pull the string on the bottom and then the legs and arm would go up and then down and then up and then down. It would be a stupid easy thing to prank or to gimmick, but it doesn't mean it couldn't be real. I do kind of like the way the guy does shuffle back when it first moves. He kind of there he is shuffling. He's like, but it's not an overly powerful kind of thing, but it is a thing. So it's in your estimation, are we looking at spiritual activity, some ghostly presence? Give me a 1 if you think so, or you think this is a gimmick, a hoaxy thing. Give me a 0 or whatever your vote is. All right, let's check it out. See what you guys said. The unknown, nope. Hi, Ruthie, good to see you. Karen Alberding, nope. I'll say 0. Yep, absolutely. Adventures with Beth, 0. Chucky Danger, 0. It's an old puppet. Yeah, the grieving model. Yeah, I thought so too. It's like an old type. Aussie Boss Tiger's all in. 1, he smirks. Well, yeah, I mean, if he's not absolutely terrified, he'd be like, I nervous smile all the time, and I laugh when I always shouldn't. so that can be a truly organic reaction to weird stuff. Mr. Bone PPO, nope. Why are they filming that high? I think because it was already happening and they just happened to start recording to catch it. If the narratives, we couldn't believe our eyes, so I started filming it. So this wasn't the first time it did it. This is just them capturing it according to that narrative. T-Bone, nope. Trickery, 0 from Supernatural Station. Author, illustrator BJ Lapierre, halfway there. Maybe it's real. The Unknown, nope. Oh, Ruthie's all in on this one, giving it a 1. Stony Jackson, halfway there. 1, I had a few of those toys when I was a kid. Yeah. I mean, it certainly could be legit. It's just kind of mischievous. It's kind of playful, I guess. 0, The Grieving Model. Carol Pack, 0. Amanda's Crazy Life Channel, 0. 0 Prank from Philip Blair. Bonnie Moore gives it a 0. Jose's giving it a 1. And Kedster's halfway. Why would he be looking around the corner if he didn't expect something? Again, they were already seeing it happening. So by the time they're recording, they were already familiar with this was moving. And so, so they saw it moving, experienced it moving, started recording, and it moved again. So is the take that I'm going from this narrative on screen. Couldn't believe it, so we started filming it. Kel gives it nope. Let's see. Okay, creepy, but supernatural, 0.5 from Sarah. Fair enough. Elaine Clifford, halfway. I've had small strange things happen to me. Absolutely, me too. Tons of them. I was reaching for a pen one time, and before I grabbed it, it rolled away from me. That was pretty cool. Susie Wright gives it a halfway. If you saw that moving, let's say it was real, would a person really sit there and look at it? I would. I mean, honestly. We don't know if these guys have experienced a ton of stuff and they're just kind of like, oh, wow, check that out. Or if this is, they're pretty much seeing the first thing ever. I don't know. Good questions, but fair enough. I would, though. I'd sit there and watch it. I'd probably go up and check it out, make sure there was nothing attached to it. Not that I'm super brave. I'm just saying that would be my curiosity. What do we got on Rumble? 0.25 from Dog Digger, 0.5 from Barbara Mora. Scroll in, Brent. I can't zoom in on this one. Sorry. Videos I can't zoom on. Pictures I can. Car Juice, nope, not buying it. 0.5. Too easily hoaxed. Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. All right, and then I got one more for you guys, and we can check that out. And that will be this one. This one is UFO one, allegedly. And this one comes from Solar Lion on Facebook. Undeniable UFO footage. And I got to admit, what they've captured here is very convincing. This is shooting. Now, I've told you guys, if you've been around a while, I've seen a UFO. And the only way I saw it was through night vision binoculars. So, and it looked like this. What I saw did not look like this. In fact, I'll show you after the video a sketch I did of what I saw. But you have to imagine it being green like this because I saw it in night vision only. I couldn't see it with my naked eyes. It didn't exist with my naked eyes. I'll show you my image of what I saw after this part is over. So here it is. This is undeniable UFO footage. I like what they recorded here. But if you ever get a chance, you have night vision, look at the night sky. You'll see a lot of weird crap up there. I don't know how to make sense of it. I've seen tons of this stuff myself far off. It's just, I don't know what I'm looking at, but I know it doesn't look normal. So here it is. Take a look.
All right, so we got 3 ships moving different directions, and then this one just comes ripping through, changing directions, and disappears at the end. Not a satellite.
Yeah, that thing's screaming.
All right, so we got 3 ships moving different directions, and then this one just comes ripping through, changing directions, and disappears at the end. Not a satellite.
I think this is great footage personally, but I'm curious what you guys think. Do you think this could be actually catching some extraterrestrial activity in the atmosphere? What do you think? Time to vote. Let me see what you're saying. What are you guys saying? Time to vote. 1, definitely not a satellite. Good footage from Jaron. Kedster is giving it a 1. Yes, 1 from Ruthie. Adventures with Beth giving it a 1. 0.8 from 24 Vampire Man. I don't know. Philip Blair says 0.5 from The Unknown. Yeah, he's seen some stuff. Elaine 1, BJ 1, Spirit Stalker 1, Owl 1, Rachel 1, Stony Jackson 1. I've seen the same. Ruthie says Daryl Stanley's giving it a 1. Bonnie Moore's giving it a 1. Aussie Tiger, yes. Andrew Gnome's Trucking. Yes, giving it a 1. Susie 1 plus from Tim Hoffman. Very good. Amanda's Crazy Life Channel 1. And Kel 1. I saw Ruthie, you already voted, but thanks for voting again. The Grieving Model's giving it a 1. And Mr. Bone PPO 1. Very cool. What do we got over on Rumble? Dog Digger's giving it a 1. Justin Goodearth a 1. And Barbara Mora is giving it a 1. So there you go. I think it's legit. I really do. I think this is great. I've seen this kind of stuff tons of times. This is one, and there's a second little one there, but then this fourth one just kind of rips right through it all. And I don't know how far up it is, but if it's up in the upper atmosphere like this, that thing is screaming. That's like way faster than Mach 4 or 5 or 6. That thing is screaming, whatever it is. It's really cruising. So really, really wild stuff and a great capture. I like this one. Again, that was Solar Lion on Facebook. Undeniable UFO footage. What does it say when it says
Era?
What did that say? Era. It says era. The ghost box says era. It's a new era of UFOs hanging out in our atmosphere. But yeah, you'll see things like this up in the upper atmosphere on clear nights with night vision all the time. I've got the binoculars. I've seen hundreds of these kind of things. And I've recorded a few. They're really not as easy to see, but all the same, they're very interesting. I will tell you that if you can look at the night sky with Generation 1 night vision, I don't know how it works with the other generations. I've only tried it with Generation 1, but you will see millions of more stars than you do with your naked eye because a lot of the stars in our galaxy are red stars and are not visible with our naked eyes. So the night sky just comes alive in a way that you wouldn't believe. So very cool. This has been, oh, I got to get my mouse to the right screen. Whoops. That wasn't what I wanted. This was.
What the hell is that?
Indeed. What is that? There we go. All right. So that was a good journey. We had a lot of things to review and go over. I appreciate you guys weighing in on the stuff. That's really cool. I will tell you that, again, I've seen a UFO through night vision. I got tired of trying to explain it every time I told the story, so I finally stopped and just sketched it out. And this is my sketch that I did. I think I sketched it out when I was on Cade's show, Cade Moya, the Believe show out of Australia. But Cade's a wonderful guy. But here is what I saw, but you got to imagine it in green hue, like what you saw in that last video. But this is what I saw when I saw the UFO that I saw. That's my sketch of what I saw. And in the middle of that saucer are those panels that were flashing in like a chasing light pattern, like a marquee pattern. So that's what I saw. But very cool experience. I'm very honored to have seen it. But that's mine. That's me. I was there. That's when I became a believer. I was always a believer, but this is when I became a knower. It's like, oh yeah, there's no question what I saw was real because it looked like this. It wasn't like, oh, that could be swamp gas on Uranus or whatever. What I saw was this sitting right above the tree. And, oh, thanks. Yeah, I like to sketch as well. I did this in about 10, 15 minutes, so it's a big scribbly mess, but that's what it looked like in the night sky. It was crazy. Crazy. Oh, Ruthie says, seen the same thing in our mountains on Mount Wilson, an observatory there. Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool. That's an awesome photo you drew. Did anyone else kind of see that 3D effect when he was moving the picture a little? Oh, sorry. I mean, it's not 3D for me, but I'm glad it had a cool effect for you guys. So I've seen something like that, but it was more flat than that. Yeah, fair enough. And it's just the best estimation I could do from memory. I was in such shock when I saw it. The only thing I remember for sure is that it was saucer shaped. It had an upper and lower, and it had a gap between the two. And that's where the panels of light were, where it was flashing around. Now, interestingly, I was looking at it, and I'm like, I got to see this with my own eyes. So I went like this, holding my eyes in the same position, and I look. I could see the trees. I could see the stars, but there was nothing there. And I'm like, oh, my God, it took off. So I raised the binoculars again, and it was still there. And I lowered it, and it wasn't there. So like it was cloaked. It was like hidden. I could only see it through the night vision. And that was really blew me away. I was just like, so it was a cool first experience seeing a UFO. Thank you, 24 Vampire Man. I appreciate it. So that was my experience. But those are tonight's offerings for the What the Hell Is That? And we still got some time. So that means we can dive into some of the next part, which is, if I can get it going here, which is this. Okay. Yeah, this is one I've had open for a while. I was going to look for more from Wes's blog. I hadn't done that, though. Let me do this. Oh, thanks for sharing my episode, Wes, on your blog. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a bunch. I just want to find a couple of these from Wes's site on the blog here from the new stuff. I haven't looked for a long time. That's an orb. Because we got to get to the cryptid corner. I think a couple of these will be just fine. Here we go. Let's do that one. All right, I got 3 of them pulled up from the blog, the most recent listener emails that Wes posted. So let's get to these. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, for the next part of our journey. And it's time to head to the darkened spaces and enter the cryptid corner. That's my theatrical intro, and I keep redoing it. So there we go. I think everything's framed up pretty good here. Oh, Jesus, what the hell is that? Don't do that. Oh, I hate when it does that. Let me stretch it back out. There we go. That'll work. Time for the cryptid corner. Really big shoe. All right, I need a drink first. Can't wait for spring. Can't wait till I can have fresh air again. Do you know one thing I think they do in Europe and countries around the world that we probably need to do a lot more of in the States is I think every day they open up their windows and just let it air out, their whole house air out. Any time of the weather, no matter how cold, they open up all the windows and just let fresh air come in and exchange out all that old air. And then they close it all back up and heat. So I'm like, God, that's probably a really good idea. We're a bunch of clowns. At least nobody taught me that, unless I missed that part of the growing up thing. But we never did that at home that I remember. Maybe my mom did. But anyway, I was a dumb kid. I didn't pay attention. All right, so here we go. This is from Sasquatch Chronicles blog. This is the Cryptid Corner where we talk about cryptozoological encounter stories. And we're going to start here. Wes posts these listener emails, which I love because they are incredible moments of people usually coming face to face with something they just can't explain. And that's 99% of what cryptid reports are like. So let's check it out. From February 3rd, it's actually yesterday old. Strange frozen tracks. A listener writes, there are 2 strange occurrences that have been bothering me recently, and I'd really appreciate hearing your thoughts on them. One is something I came across myself, and the other is a story that a friend told me. Neither is anything definitive or outrageous, but both were strange enough just to stick with me. I'll start with my friend's experience. She was hanging out with a group of friends in Tannersville, Pennsylvania, in a rural suburban neighborhood where houses are clustered together with wooden areas separating each group. And this happened sometime in November 2025 around 9 p.m., so it was fully dark out. There were 5 of them trying to get a fire going in a small clearing behind another friend's house, just a short distance into the tree line. And she told me that on 3 separate occasions, they all heard what she described as a dog bark imitating an owl hoot. The first sound came from deeper in the woods beyond that area is an old construction site. The second sound was noticeably closer. And the third was so close that it genuinely scared them, and they all hurried back inside. She didn't specify how loud it was, but it must have carried well to be heard from that distance. I tried to think through possible animals and played her recordings of barred owl calls, and she said the rhythm was somewhat similar, but none of the calls matched what they heard. She emphasized that the sound was much deeper and more bark-like than any owl she'd ever heard. I'm sure someone more knowledgeable about wildlife could probably explain it, and I know it's hard without an actual recording, but it's definitely intriguing. If you have any insight, both my friend and I would love to hear, especially if it might put her more at ease about being in those woods again. My own experience happened on January 11th of this year, while I was hiking alone at Ricketts Glen State Park on the Laurel View Trail. The area had recently been hit by a storm that iced over the snow, freezing everything solid. In the northern portion of the trail, about half a mile from the loop point, I noticed a frozen footprint that appeared to have toes. I guess that's it. Yeah, it kind of approximates toes, doesn't it? My dad and I always joke that anything strange in the woods is high levels of Squatch activity. So I stopped to take a picture, and on closer inspection, the print was surprisingly large and the toes really did resemble toes. I stepped into it for scale and estimated it to be about 14 inches long, with unusually wide toes. I'm fairly familiar with animal tracks, and I can see how it might have been a bear track or possibly multiple tracks overlapping in a way that made it look larger. Someone also suggested it could have been a snowshoe print. I don't think anybody's got that size snowshoes. That's pretty tiny. Later on the trail, I found similar looking print that was closer to 7 inches long and appeared more clearly like a bear track. Either way, I've attached photos of both prints in this email. I know neither of these stories is anything extraordinary, but I find this kind of thing fascinating and figured to be the right person to ask. I've had enough odd experiences in nature to keep me skeptically open-minded about there being more out there. Most notably, I saw a ball of light in the western Pennsylvania that was clear enough that I couldn't easily dismiss it. And that experience is what originally led me to your podcast. I really appreciate the work you do and the many hours of great stories you provided me and my dad. Thanks for everything and for any insight you might be able to share. That's very cool. I will say, now that does look like individual toes, that one does. Like a younger one maybe. That one does look pretty fascinating. I will say though that the problem is we don't know with snow prints and they do really look like toes. So I'm not saying it couldn't be legit. What you don't see is the hump in the middle. It looks like it's very, very flat. When it was made, you don't see the hump where the push off would come, and then the mid-tarsal hinge or break would be pushing up some kind of extra debris here in like a heap in the middle of a track. That's one of the mechanics of their stride that seems to be consistent, is the mid-tarsal hinge, and that's in the debris getting kicked up and piled up in the middle of the track. I will say that tracks in the snow can be very deceiving if the tracks are older at all, even over a day old, and there's been a warming up. Tracks will melt out and become larger over time just from the heat of the snow melting, and it will expand the print a lot. And so you've got to weigh in for that factor, that looking at a snow track, if it's not really fresh, like if you can't see individual toes and stuff and you don't know how old it is, it could be older than you think and look much larger due to warm-ups and melt-off that might have expanded it and then it refroze. This person did say that there was everything got iced over, so everything was locked in. But did it melt prior to that? When the rain fell, was it melty temperature and then it froze on contact? So I don't know. Those are certainly things to consider. Walter Kokubinski says, excellent show. Thank you, Walter. I appreciate that. Appreciate that a bunch. Let's continue on here and see what's next. What do we got time for? Yeah, we got time for one more, I think. We'll see. All right, let's go to the next one. This is from Sasquatch Chronicles blog. Yeah, this one's pretty short. We probably got time for both of those that I pulled up. February 3rd, current concerns. A listener writes, I recently moved to a new property with my girlfriend to help care for my grandfather as he gets older. And I've started noticing some strange activity around the property. I'm mainly looking for insight into what this could be. It began with an odd sixth sense feeling like I was being watched. God, that is so consistent in these reports. When people are in the company of something, they always feel it. We are more gifted than we think. And I think that maybe that's a leftover from us climbing up the food chain, that we had to know when something was hunting us, so we developed an incredibly acute sixth sense to know when something is watching or potentially stalking us. Not all people are great at it, obviously, because people still get killed by wildlife. But generally speaking, people know when they're being watched. So it began as a feeling of being watched. I work a swing shift, so I get home late. And I'd often feel uneasy when pulling into the driveway. At first, I just brushed it off as nerves from being in a new place. And then the noises started. Yeah, it always does this escalation thing. The first incident happened while I was at work. My girlfriend called me shaken, saying that something was walking outside of the house and breathing heavily. Yeah, that's not what you like to have outside of anybody's house. I told her it was probably a buck looking for a doe since it was mating season, which seemed reasonable at the time. Well, not long after, one weekend night, we were both woken up by chattering sounds coming from two different directions. Well, we just lay there frozen in bed listening. Another incident involved tapping on the side of the house, which I was able to record. What finally pushed me to write this was a frequent sight of a distant red eye shine. I can never clearly make out what it is, whether it's a cougar or something else that worries me more. I'm just hoping for some insight into what could be going on. Thank you for taking the time to read this. And if any of you guys live in an area where this stuff kind of starts happening and it seems to be like they're right outside your house, one of the big things that people can do that seems to be pretty effective at pushing your boundaries out so that they won't come right up the house is putting out like those IR security lights that pop on when they detect motion. Put them around your house. Put up trail cameras. They just seem to avoid those like the plague. There's many incidences of people having problems with Bigfoots possibly being around their property, and then putting out trail cameras all over the place, and suddenly the activity moves on. Like, I don't know how they know, but they seem to know that they don't want to be any part of trail cameras. So it does kind of boggle the imagination, like, well, how did it know? How did it know that this plastic box was something to avoid? And it's hard to say. Maybe it speaks to their intelligence. Maybe they just kind of got an inkling that it's something we put out there and they don't trust it. Maybe it's just that simple, or maybe somehow they know. I don't know. It's very, very bizarre. So let's go to the last one tonight. We're going to do one more. And then I'll let you guys go so you can go join Spaced Out Radio with Mr. Dave Scott. All right, Sasquatch Chronicles blog, January 30th. Savannah National Wildlife Refuge, August 2012. A listener writes, I served in the U.S. Coast Guard from 2009 to 2015, primarily in Washington State, first in Port Angeles, and then in Bellingham. I was a search and rescue boat driver and then became extremely familiar with the local waterways and terrain. Well, that role trained me to notice details, especially anything out of place during operations or rescues. The ghost box picked up a presence. Might just be nothing. Probably is nothing, but I find it fun. It says, I experienced and witnessed a lot of unique situations while living out there, but two incidents in particular stand out as both obvious and deeply unsettling. I now live back in Illinois, about an hour south of Chicago, near the Kankakee River, an area that has had reports of unusual activity in the past. I currently conduct Bigfoot research along the river west towards the state park and would be very interested in sharing information on the show at some point. So, witness account, possible Bigfoot sighting, the Savannah National Wildlife Refuge, August 2012. In late August of 2012, I was living in Bellingham, Washington, but temporarily assigned to Charleston, South Carolina on TDY orders. I don't know what that means, but anyway, TDY. One weekend, a friend and I drove down to Savannah, Georgia. Well, at that time, I wanted to believe Bigfoot could exist, but I'd never personally experienced anything that would convince me. While driving back to Charleston, we traveled along a rural highway that cuts directly through Savannah National Wildlife Refuge. I still have the exact coordinates saved in Google Maps for documentation. We came to a stop at a temporary construction light, and there were no other vehicles anywhere on the road. While waiting for the red light, my friend and I were casually talking about Bigfoot and whether its existence could ever be proven. Mid-sentence, I abruptly stopped talking because something caught my attention. God, isn't that something? Like you're talking about Bigfoot and then boom, there's Bigfoot.
You summoned a Bigfoot.
I was in the passenger seat and looked to my right. There was an open field approximately 100 yards wide, leading to a tree line. Just in front of the trees was a tall, dense thicket, possibly pussy willows. What drew my eye was something rising well above the top of the brush. We could not see a body at all due to the height and density of the vegetation. However, visible light along the thicket, or above the thicket, was what appeared to be a conical-shaped head, light brown in color, moving smoothly from left to right. What immediately stood out was the way it moved. Fast, fluid, and level. There was no bouncing, no vertical change, just steady, rapid motion as if a head were attached to something walking quickly along behind the brush. I was completely fixated and unable to speak. I finally asked my friend if she could see it, and she replied, "I don't know what the hell that is, but it's fast." To both of us, it clearly appeared to be a head moving above the thicket at an unusually quick pace. When we returned to Charleston, I immediately called my parents. I was still in shock from what we had witnessed. Here's an additional witness account from Bellingham, Washington. Near Larrabee State Park, June 2013. In June 2013, living in Bellingham, I went on a solo hike near Larrabee State Park, and I was not looking for anything unusual, just enjoying a rare day off after working an entire weekend. From the moment I stepped onto the trail, I felt uneasy. I was carrying my 9mm handgun strictly as a last resort safety measure for potential animal encounters, something I routinely did on isolated hikes. Almost immediately, I felt as though I was being watched. I had persistent goosebumps and a deep sense of discomfort that never went away. Throughout the hike, I constantly felt compelled to look over my shoulder. The feeling was intense and continuous. The weather was clear with no clouds, and it hadn't rained in nearly a month. The gravel trail was tightly packed with small, shallow impressions from normal foot traffic. From about 10 feet away, I noticed a single large indentation in the gravel. It was only pressed down roughly half an inch, but the size immediately stood out. It appeared to be a footprint far larger than the average footprint. There were no other impressions nearby, just the one. Well, at the time, I took a photo with my iPhone 4 and placed a Monster Energy drink can next to it for scale. The footprint noticeably dwarfed the can. Although I never visually encountered anything on that hike, the combination of the overwhelming sense of being watched and the unusually large footprint has stayed with me ever since. Yeah, no doubt. You know, there's an old saying, careful what you wish for. You might just get what you're wishing for. And if you do, now you get to deal with that. Now you get to live with it. So, I don't know. Kind of got to be careful. But I tell you what, that's going to be the journey tonight. If you're still got a hankering for more paranormal, again, please head over to Spaced Out Radio on YouTube, youtube.com/spacedoutradio. Hang out with Mr. Dave Scott. He'll be doing 3 full hours, and it's an amazing show. Don't miss it. Dave is an exceptionally good interviewer, and he always has really fascinating guests. So, and the chat room is also amazing over there. So go check it out. Support him, give him your love, and let him know the portal sent you. So that's all I have time for, folks. I'll be back on Friday nights. I believe Sheldon will be with me, and we'll dive into yet another adventure into the paranormal portal. But remember, love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. God, especially now. We really need good, kind, and nice. Be kind, nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day and remember to laugh as much as you can. And I will be back on Friday, and we'll do it all again. So until then, You guys take care. Have a great rest of your week. Happy hump day. And be safe. See ya.